Last week you created this application where you had a list of all these states. You click on a state and it would show you the capital. For instance, I clicked on Michigan and it said the capital of Michigan is Lansing. We got all this data from in here, our, what was it, strings, wasn't it? And we stored them all in there. This week we're going to do it a little differently because we're going to add a database and use that database rather than those strings. I'll get into a little bit more when we actually do the assignment, but what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to right click on this file and this file, right click, save link as, and I saved them to my desktop, okay? Once we get to our desktop here, you'll see that I have my database access.java file and also my states.zip, which is my database. If I take and open up this states.zip, I'll show you how to use database browser to take a look at this little SQLite database. Within this database, hopefully you have a little experience with databases. If not, I'll work with you, okay? We have tables. In this case, we have a tables called states, okay? Capital S-T-A-T-E-S. And within here, we actually have state and capital. Notice the capital letters. We've got to be careful that we make sure we use a capital letters for that. If we open up our database, if we take a look at our data, clicking on here, you'll see here's all of our states and our capitals in here. Okay, let's put this away. We don't need this for now. But for now, once again, we took and downloaded these two files. Make sure you have those before you even get started, okay? Next thing I did is I took and I looked in, here's my Android Studio projects. I took my state capitals and I sent that to send to a compressed folder. I won't do it again, but please do that because that way you have a copy of before and after. One's going to, of course, look at the strings.xml. One is going to look at a database. Go ahead and do that. And when you're all done, here we are back at our application here again. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of these strings. We don't need them anymore. Make sure that you take it from that line and then make sure you leave the bottom line right there. Delete. They're out of here. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to add a resource file to store our databases in. To do that, you're going to right click on App, say New, down here, Folder. This is going to be an asset folder right there. Click on that, just say Finish. Pops up right here. Sometimes it takes a little bit. If we look in our resources, takes a little bit. There we go. There's our assets right there, okay? Right click on Assets and say you want a new directory in there, okay? And we're going to call this databases. Make sure you type it in just like this, no capitals and an S at the end. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we're going to take and drag this states.zip, okay? You can leave it zipped. That's fine. It works really well. I'm going to hit my control key down so I can copy it in there rather than just delete it from my desktop. I'm going to say OK, just like that. Wonderful. So we got this database in here. Next thing that we want to do is go into our Java right here. We want to take and add this file right here, database access.java. Right click, copy. Go up here to this right above your main activity. Right click and say paste. When it's all done, just say OK. When it's all done, it should show up right here. If it doesn't show up here, you did something wrong and you can delete it and put it in the right spot. Next thing we do is we get an error here, okay? And we got an error because we have to take and tell it, oh, by the way, go out there in the internet and get this information right here. Okay, go ahead and copy that. And then we're going to take and go into our Gradle. The second one down right here, this Gradle with a module right there. Double click on that, stick that right here. V like that, okay? Go ahead and say sync now. And that will take care of our errors out of there. Wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and open up our main activity. What did we do before? Let's see. We took and we got this information from these arrays. That gives us errors now, doesn't it? Let's blow that out of there because we're going to use that differently. We're going to get them from our database now. Go back to our database access.java. I want you to copy this one line here that says database name. Copy that right there. Control C. We're going to stick that just below this array adapter where we created this up here like that. And of course, my database isn't called my database. What is it called? It's called states with a capital S. And is it called states? Where is our databases here? States right there with a S. S-T-A-T-E-S, just like that. Make sure you get this correct because the only thing that will happen is your computer program or app will crash and you won't know what's wrong with it. Make sure you have S-T-A-T-E-S with a capital S. Okay, then go back in here. We're going to copy a little code. We're going to copy these lines right here. Right there like that. Okay, once again, see which ones I got right there. Go ahead and copy those. Control C and go put those right here. Control V like that. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to say, okay, go ahead and use this class that I gave you, this database access class. Create a new instance of it, okay, and then send it the database name. By the way, I wrote this little class just for you guys, so you don't have to do all this work inside of there. Once again, I'll explain a little bit more during our regular exercise, okay, or activity for this week. Okay, so we're going to open that database. String stuff, we aren't string stuff. What do we got? We got states right there. Okay, that's what we're saving up here, this string of states and capitals. Now we're going to get that from our database. Now you have to be very careful when you do that because you have to look at our table, or our database here. We got a table called states with a capital S and S here. And then each one is a capital state and a capital, yeah, whatever. So anyway, we have to make sure we get that right. This is going to be states because that's our table name. And what's our field name? State. Now we're getting that information from that database. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for our capitals. Okay. And this time, of course, it's still states is the name of the table. And this isn't state anymore. It's C-A-P-I-T-A-L. Capital like that. Okay, I ran mine. It worked perfectly. Yay. If yours is like, it pops up and it goes away right away on your tablet or wherever you're emulating it, make sure that you have this right here. This spelled correctly, this spelled correctly, this spelled correctly, this spelled correctly, this spelled correctly. And also make sure that it says assets database in states.zip. And then also make sure that you have database access right here. And then make sure that this line in your Gradle right here, you copied that in there. Good luck.